Is it wrong for me not to care about my ex or her child? We were married for 11 years, and I thought we had a great relationship, but it turned out to be a lie. When I discovered that the child we thought was mine actually wasn't, things got more complicated. The little girl, who was under 1 year old at the time, was diagnosed with a genetic disease neither my ex-wife nor I had. After a genetic test revealed I wasn't the father, I promptly ended the relationship, wished her well, and started the divorce process. However, I was served with a summons for a child support case. My lawyer warned me that, given my previous role as a father, I might be ordered to pay. I wanted to fight, but I was at a disadvantage. The real father was eventually found, and I was still ordered to pay. She seemed pleased after the hearing, and I was upset, admittedly. So I told her I would send her a check before garnishment kicked in. I quickly liquidated all my assets, taking a loss on some things, but hey, I'm still young. I called my parents, and they got my room ready. So I moved back home in my home country. I sent my ex a picture of me smiling back home and wished her the best of luck. I've received a few calls and letters regarding the support, but they got blocked or tossed into the trash. I don't think I'm the a-hole here. I didn't cheat and the child isn't mine. Some people discuss the bond, but I can't say it was strong since I was ready to leave as soon as I found out. I got wind of the situation and I'm curious about Reddit's thoughts. Is it justified? Now let's dive into the top comments. There's not much hope, and I'm genuinely surprised by all the Jordy a-hole ratings I'm receiving. It's pointed out that she was well aware the child wasn't mine, yet she had the audacity to take the matter to court for child support. Kudos to me for cutting ties and moving forward. She made her choices, and now she has to live with them. I'm reminded that I'm not obligated to financially support a child that isn't biologically mine. In the comments, there's sympathy for the situation, acknowledging that not many people in my position would stick around. Best wishes are extended for a new and happy life. It's also noted that it's unfortunate how people play with lives and involve a child in such a complicated situation. The system's flaws are discussed, questioning why it would order child support for a kid that isn't biologically mine, especially when it's been less than a year since I started raising the child. The complexity of the situation and the lack of consideration for the emotional and financial well-being of the falsely accused parent are recognized. It seems the system is more focused on the best interests of the child, sometimes neglecting fairness for the parent. The comments express understanding for my decision and highlight the need for a re-evaluation of the legal system in such cases. Please don't shoot the messenger, just giving some info, based on what I learned from working with a family law firm/lawyers. Basically, the law isn't looking at what is fair to the parents and more, it's what is best for the child. So if you've been caring for a child for a year, then your question is, how would it be beneficial for a child to lose a parent's financial stability if you can't find a real dad? You somehow have to argue that it's detrimental to the child for you to continue being in its life, even if it's just financially. Which, as you can imagine, is pretty difficult. It sucks, but the system needs a huge overhaul, and I don't think a lot of people with the power to do so want to get into it. Not the whole, because I don't agree with a system that allows someone to be liable after being lied to. I would commend you if you were still there for an innocent child. But I think the system isn't fair now. For the next story, there might be a hole for not giving my wife her daughter's address so she could see the newborn. Hear me out. Please, I'm a 46-year-old father who lost a daughter Molly years ago to brain cancer. Molly's passing shattered me. She was my only child. I've undergone a significant transformation since that tragedy. I entered into marriage with my wife when my stepdaughter Sarah was just 15. Sarah faced difficulties with her biological mother, who would kick her out over minor disagreements, be it for getting a haircut, failing a class, or various other reasons. This tumultuous relationship continued, with her mom insisting she return home to learn her lesson or face expulsion. On one occasion, her mother expelled her over a diary-related issue when Sarah was 17, and that marked the breaking point. Sarah chose not to return and took charge of her life by finding employment. Throughout this period, I maintained communication with her, unable to watch her struggle. While financial assistance was initially rejected, she displayed remarkable independence and a strong work ethic reminiscent of my late daughter, Molly. In an effort to support her dreams, I leveraged my connections to secure a better job opportunity for Sarah. This allowed her to continue earning a living, aligning with her desire to work for her income. Moreover, the new job recognized her talents more than her previous one. Sarah's aspirations leaned towards becoming a graphic designer, so I went the extra mile by selling my old car to finance her courses. She started paying me back bit by bit, only because she's independent. She lived with her then boyfriend, now husband, and paid for other things. My wife didn't try to mend things. She does own Sarah the day she got married, but I stood firm and told her that I'm free to talk to Sarah and she should respect that. I attended gatherings with Sarah from time to time, and she calls me dad in front of other people, whereas in the past it was just my name. This sounds crazy, but I believe this all happened just so I could meet Sarah and have a chance at being the best father that I could be. She's now 22 and just had a baby girl a few weeks ago. I visited several times and we talked. She told me that it was unfortunate that she lost her dad, but was glad she has me in her life. I cried, although I'm not good at expressing emotions, and it got worse after Molly's death. My wife knew about the baby and demanded to give her the address so she could go see her granddaughter. I refused because Sarah asked me not to tell, and because she's already dealing with postpartum and will not be able to deal with her mom's behavior. In the heat of our disagreement, my wife expressed strong feelings, insisting that this is her daughter and grandchild and I shouldn't prevent her from seeing them. She accused me of being selfish and cruel, intensifying our argument. Surprisingly, the rest of the family sided with her, advising me to stay out of the matter. Despite my attempts to discuss the issue with my wife, she asserted that I had no rights and demanded the address. Regrettably, she showed no signs of remorse or willingness to apologize for her behavior. The blame for being perceived as cruel and demanding now rests on me, with everyone in the family pointing fingers. To alleviate the tension, I eventually provided her with the address in response to popular opinion. I declined to disclose the address initially as per Sarah's request, emphasizing that her wishes should be respected. If I were to do otherwise, it would go against what Sarah desires. Presenting this perspective to the hypothetical court, I argue that my actions align with being a responsible and understanding father. The focus is on maintaining the trust and respecting the boundaries of Sarah, a commitment I'm determined not to overstep. The one who drove a wedge in a family was the one who disowned her own daughter. But the rest of the family have a problem with me and see this as an opportunity to put the blame on me for what happened. I used to care to pass about what they say, but not anymore after everything I've already lost. Losing them is in fact a blessing, not at home, and in a kind is the get a divorce. Agree. Divorce the wife. Keep the daughter. The next story is titled, A Mighty a Hole for Reminding My Ex She Has No Say in Where My Son Goes to School. A little background info. My ex and I broke up when she got pregnant with my son Vincent because she left out one tiny little detail during our time together. She was married with kids. She and her husband almost divorced. I fought to be in my son's life and got sole custody in the end. My ex still has visitation and Vincent has met his other 4 half-siblings who are around the same age as him. Vincent just turned 5 and I've started thinking about elementary school next year. Some of my friends' kids and my sister's children attend the same private school, which offers education from pre-K to high school. I've heard numerous positive things about this school, and my nephews who have been there for years absolutely love it. The school is known for its non-strict environment, small class sizes, and attentive teachers. Having attended various school events there, I have witnessed firsthand the wonderful community it fosters, and I believe my son would benefit greatly from being a part of it. However, when I mentioned this school to my ex during her visit with Vincent, she became defensive. She expressed a strong preference for public schools and seemed to disapprove of the idea of Vincent attending a private school. While I understand and agree that there's nothing wrong with public schools, I believe that this specific private school would provide unique advantages for Vincent's education. As I shared more information about the school, her frustration appeared to escalate. Eventually, she revealed that she opposes the idea of Vincent attending this private school because she envisioned him going to the same school as his half-siblings. Sending him elsewhere would mean less time for them to spend together, which is something she strongly desires. We started arguing. She was set on him not going there, and I eventually told her, I'm the one who gets to make these decisions, so she has no say in any of this, and I'm only telling her as a courtesy. She got really quiet and started crying. She said I didn't need to rub it in her face, and she's only thinking about Vincent spending less time with her side of the family if he goes to a different school. She called me some very unkind names and left. I understand that she wants him to be close to her other kids, but I don't see why that could cost him having a better education. But I am wondering if maybe I was a little too far throw into custody arrangement in her face. Don't know if it was the right call to say those things and remind her she has no control of what happens in his life. Am I home now for the top comments? Not a hole. The world doesn't revolve around what she wants. Seems like your ex never learned that lesson since her infidelity. If the person wants to go to that private school, then that's all you really need to know. It's not like he will never see his half-siblings or something. Also, have a good education or let him live in comfort. Not the fact how close or not he may be with your ex's kids. Also, unless his half-siblings are the same age as he is, which seems unlikely, I'm not sure how much they'd actually see each other in school. It's not like they're going to be walking home from the bus stop together, sharing classes, eating together, etc. Until I was in high school, my school system rarely offered opportunities for us to mingle with people from other grade levels, and even in high school. Most of our activities at the school were organized by grade levels, even if the kids were in the same grade. It's natural for children to develop different friend groups and interests as they grow, and it's unrealistic to expect them to stick together all the time. Additionally, enforcing their constant interaction at school seems impractical. I suspect her resistance to Vincent attending a private school may be more about financial constraints than his contact with his half-siblings. Moreover, attending the same school could potentially expose Vincent to rumors about being the child of an affair, a situation no child deserves. Keeping them in different schools might be in the best interest of all the children, considering the unique circumstances. I'm not sure about her social circle, but she seems to be overlooking potential challenges, especially when school moms become aware of the situation. For instance, the day Vincent has to draw his family tree might bring unwanted attention. I've witnessed a similar situation with my niece whom I raised. Her teachers disclosed personal details about her parents' struggles with substances, causing unnecessary turmoil. In such cases, decisions need to be made based on what is in the child's best interest, setting a precedent that ensures stability. It might be a form of tough love, but given the gravity of the situation, individuals who make significant mistakes may need to accept a diminished role in decision-making and lack credibility. It's intriguing to think about how someone with 4 kids manages to find time for an affair, especially considering the demanding schedules many parents have. So I'm sure that made having an affair easier for her since we didn't see each other too often. The last story is titled, The Mighty a Hole. If I allow my daughter to change her name, I, female 29, have a daughter, female 10, with my previous partner who sadly died when my daughter was 1 when my daughter was 3. I began dating my now husband Matt Mayo, 34, who has 2 boys, 10, 11, with his ex-wife. I've had a great bond with his kids since they were little. Yet I've always tried to make it clear that while I know I'm not their mom, I'm another person who will always love and support them. My husband is a fantastic dad, and my daughter Mia has brought up a few times that she's now the only one without Matt's surname. I spoke to her about it, and she explained that it sometimes makes her feel like she's not really part of the family. It was pretty heartbreaking as we've always tried to keep her dad's memory alive, but reassure her that it's okay for her to love Matt as a dad too. It's obviously something that is playing on her mind as she came home from school last week and asked me if I thought Matt would adopt her so he could be her dad too. Matt and I spoke about it, and although he said he would adopt her in a heartbeat, we felt we should wait a few years until she's older and can understand the gravity of the decision. I suggested adding Matt's surname to Mia's, and she loved the idea. After Matt discussed it with the boys, and they were excited, Mia and Matt had a heartfelt dinner, and Mia wrote a letter asking him to adopt her. The emotional moment led to tears from both Mia and Matt. Even the waitress shed a few tears. However, things took a turn when Matt's late partner's parents felt it was an insult to their son's memory, and I'm being blamed for not dissuading Mia from the idea. While I understand their connection to their son, Matt's ex-wife went further, calling our decision disgusting and claiming that Mia taking Matt's surname devalues the boys' relationship with their late father. In the heat of the argument, I lost my composure and reminded her that she forfeited any right to input into Matt's decisions when she left him for another guy. Despite the criticism, Matt stands firmly by our decision, but now I'm questioning if there's any validity to their comments. I wonder if supporting Mia in her decision might lead to legal consequences if she later decides against Matt adopting her. Mia is currently thrilled about the idea, and the thought of taking that happiness away from her is difficult for me to bear. Edit. Sorry, I should have made it clear that they were hyphenating her surname. It'll be up to her if she wants to use the hyphenated version in day-to-day life, or just my husband's any other as a middle name. Everyone who matters is on board with a name amendment. All due respect to your previous partner's parents, but Mia keeping his name sorely will not bring him back to lives on through her living on and being happy. That is his legacy. A rose by any other name would smell as sweet. No respect to your current husband's ex-wife. Her attitude stinks. Not be whole. You are completely right. Thank you. Note, do not hyphenate. Just add it as a second surname without hibernating it. When a name is hyphenated, you must use both on and legal documents, bank accounts, credit cards, etc. If you simply have two surnames, she can choose which she uses and where. We failed into paperwork this afternoon, and she chose to have her current surname as an additional middle name and my husband's as her surname not be home. The ex-wife needs to shut the hell up. She literally has no part in this, and her reasoning is, well, just plain stupid. Your previous partner's parents, though, are very justified in their emotion. For them, the idea might evoke the feeling of losing a part of their son once again. Your proposed compromise seems thoughtful. Mia would retain her late father's name while also incorporating her stepfather's name as a recognition of his role in her upbringing. It's understandable why, at her age, she might have felt somewhat excluded from the family. Considering both perspectives, it seems like a reasonable solution, especially if it doesn't involve taking away her father's name. Mia may even decide to revert to her original name when she's older. And that concludes this segment, everyone.